Hippie Fari, Reggae Radio and Podcast is brought to you by The Island Rhythm, the dopest reggae-inspired and Rasta-inspired designs, clothing, and everything else you could possibly imagine. Check out theislandrhythm.com. Check out Island Rhythm on Facebook and on Instagram. Once again, The Island Rhythm is where it's at. Much love. All right, so I love this because I always start out the podcast with a quote, and this time I actually wrote a quote about our guest. But sometimes when you carry a strong message, people resist you, not because you're wrong, but because you're shining a light on the insecurities that they haven't faced. And our guest embodies that truth, and that's why his voice is necessary. And once again, this is a quote about our guest. You'll find out who it is in a second.
And I was asked to follow up that quote, and I was thinking about what he said, and I was thinking about our guest, and there comes a time when art meets function, and in the case of our guest, he uses his art to function as a hammer to nail down the issues pertaining to social activism and awareness. And that was just my answer to a question.
What a beautiful thing. And let me tell you something. These quotes address some of the main reasons I created Hippie Fari, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast, brought to you by The Island Rhythm. We are outside of the Ohm and Honey studio today on the road, and we are recording live in the Island Rhythm Studios in beautiful Port Orange, Florida, which is by Daytona. And take a second to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hippie Fari YouTube, and visit www.theislandrhythm.com. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, and Hippie Fari is that podcast where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you're in the right place. Now this morning, we have our special guest back in the studio for the, I believe it's the 1,000th time. Is that right? Somewhere right
it's steady. It's steady.
Yeah, this is the seventh Cultivated Monday, which is, and let me tell you something, man, it never gets old.
I enjoy these a lot, guys, and thank you for the kind words, for real.
And even between these, I'll still call Tony on the phone. We'll talk for like 2 hours, and then we'll still do podcasts. It's pretty awesome, man. But Cultivated Mondays, man, we wanted to partner with a band that defined this podcast and media project perfectly. And this band, from their lyrics to the music to their demeanor on a personal level, and the message they stand for is the epitome of everything we stand for at Hippie Fari and the Island Rhythm. So this monthly is aptly named Cultivated Mondays. We drop an episode the first Monday of every month. Took last month off because I had the festival, and I wanted Tony to think I was mad at him. But so we're discussing Cultivated Mind, upcoming events, past events, new music releases, featuring new live music. We're going to talk about reggae in general. And let me tell you something. I get to feature a track today. I've never been more fucking excited to drop a song on the podcast than I am today, for more reasons than one, but I'll explain it right before I drop it. But 7 months is still going strong. Over half a year of these Cultivated monthlies, man. This is freaking awesome, dude. You know what I mean? I love it, man. How you feeling, man? How you feeling today, bro?
I'm honored to be on here as always, man, and that you make time to talk to me about the music and what's going on. And I don't know, I've always been a big champion of perseverance above all. Like, you can get hype can go away. You can get fame can go away. Sticking through something and seeing it through because you actually enjoy the conversations or you enjoy the art you're making. To me, that's priceless. And like, so I like stuff. I'm a Burning Spear guy. I'm a George Benson guy. I like guys that have stood the test of time. And like, I feel like anybody who's like, I do a lot of podcasts and people always like, we're going to do some big things, blah, 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 blah. We're going to keep this going. And it never pans out. And with you, man, everything you have said word wise, you've stuck to. And like, I have a lot of respect for you. And that shows that you're here to stay. And your channel and what you're promoting is doing important things for the music, no matter how the wave may go, of whether people are listening to 80s covers of reggae songs, people playing, I don't know what I'm hearing in bars nowadays, right. But whatever the vibe may be of everyone doing cover songs for the month, or everyone playing this style or switching or whatever, you keep true to roots reggae music. And that's kind of what we need right now, is some stability. So thank you for what you're doing, Scotty. And the fact that I get to come on and crack my jokes and whatever, man, with
Love
you
it.
and talk about it is a real treat. So thank you for what you're doing, Shane, too. Thank you for what you're doing, and I appreciate you guys having me. That's how I feel about it. Thank
I
you.
love watching your podcast episodes because every time I learn something new. Like when I watch your podcast episode, I'm like taking notes.
Well, Tony's a
Thanks,
fucking
man.
teacher. It's really awesome too. He actually did.
Don't tell anybody I'm a nerd, bro.
Well, he
I
did
think they
what I
know.
was going to college for. He was an English teacher, and that's what I was actually going to school for. I ended up getting a job as a restaurant manager, made a little bit more money. Wish I would have been an English teacher, but he's a teacher.
It's
so
all right.
when he talks by nature, he teaches. And the beautiful thing about the Cultivated Mondays is they get a lot of listens, but even if they didn't, I don't fucking care because this is one of my favorite times of the month when I get to hang out and talk to you. So I'm like. Actually,
Same
I
here,
take
man.
that back. I do care if they get listened, but the point is, I'm not doing it. I'm having fun doing it, man. It's always a blast. It's an absolute ton of fun, man.
Thank you, man.
So
Same here.
once again, welcome back. Love you. Thanks for coming back, man.
Love you too, bro.
What's been going on in the world of Cultivated Mind this past month, sir?
So I don't know, man. I've never been like a huge champion of mental health as part of my platform, but I think we all go through it at times. And
We do.
last like half a year has been pretty. I mean, as far as gigs go, this is like how things typically work in life. People see you doing well, and they're like, "Oh, things are fine," and you're like, "Oh, things are fine," but they're not fine. And bills pile up. Your yard gets crazy. Your health gets bad. That was one big one. There was a lot of stuff. Your cars crap out, and you're not paying attention to it because you think I got to keep going so I don't lose a foot. And like I say this to VB Reggae and Wendy Harris and like all the family out there, David Klein, all the folks who were like keeping us going, Kelsey. I kind of like took 6 months off from like the internet and got my head right so I could clear some things up in my personal life. And I don't think any musician really gets that opportunity. And like people still came to shows and supported, and like I feel really lucky in that because I saw things slipping up even with my marriage and just not being around and a lot of things going bad. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I was screwing up big time because I was too much like chomping at the bit to get to the next thing. And like, I got to kind of take care of myself for a few months and like start getting recordings really finished. Look, instead of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks, I kind of last few months have been able to be like, all right, how do I package this correctly? So 2026, I don't feel like I rushed an album I didn't promote, or I rushed a song and it just fell through the cracks because I didn't do things right and I didn't send it to people. And I've accumulated 20 years worth of everything from metal to jazz to reggae connections. And I'm just posting it on my channel. And I'm like, I hope it does well. And like, I don't know where my head's been at. And like, so I think I got real lucky to have people that kind of promoted the gigs. You guys who have like been really instrumental, in keeping me afloat as a relevant artist.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
And I would call you, and you were honest with me. Like that's why I think everybody needs to listen to these podcasts because you're fucking real. You're real in your music. You're real in real life. You just said you're going through issues with marriage. I had been too, all sorts of stuff. But I would call you. You'd be like, "Look, I'm fucking going through it right now." But I love that because
that's an accurate impression.
And I'd be like, I get it. Can you send me that track for the next podcast? Love you, bye.
yeah. And you kept me rolling, man. And I needed that so I don't lose focus. And like I said, I got people at home doing that too for me big time. And too many to list where if I leave people out, I'll be a jerk. But like, I just got a lot of folks that have been looking out. And so I've been able to package things a little better, get albums together rather than just being like, I get to see the projects through the way I want to.
Yes.
And I think everybody gets caught in that. I'm going to keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And that'll get you somewhere. And like, I got albums under my belt, so I'm not like worried about music and archives and playing I can fill hours and hours of my own stuff. And that's not being arrogant. It's just because I'm old. Like I have stuff,
Right.
But like, I feel like when you get old, you get comfortable and you go, I'm not really being artistic about this. And I don't mean that in a snobby beret, tiny mustache, snap your fingers to poetry kind of way. I mean, like, you get what I mean? You just stop. You go, all right, this is what I do. I'm going to keep doing that. And then after a while you go, yeah, but now I'm not like, whatever part of my brain got me into this. That was like, cook something, make your own Tony Chachere's, whatever it is, make your own. So like, that started to go. So I've had time to kind of like go back and go, all right, this is what I really want out of this project. This is what I really want out of this project. I'm always trying to make other people happy, and every musician does that. What would make me not feel as uncomfortable as a musician? And if I want to do something and test the waters, You're getting older, man. At what? How long? Am I gonna be 50 trying to rap song?
I
You know what I'm
take back what
saying?
I
Drop it
said.
now.
Stop your honesty and stop your realness because you keep calling yourself old. What the fuck does that make me, bro? All right.
I mean, dog, we're not. I don't know. Have you ever seen like the EDM crowd? That'll make you feel old, man.
Oh
Even if
yeah,
you're in your
yeah, yeah,
20s.
yeah.
If you're in your late 20s, you'll be like, "This is old. I feel
Yeah,
old." You
yeah,
know what I'm
people
saying?
on
So
walkers and stuff. It's pretty funny, man. A lot of our friends went to EDC this year, and they're in their 50s. So yeah,
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But like, I don't know, man. I think I came up on like wholesome family reggae shows where people, are chopping mango in the corner, and people are like, "Did you get the right ital stuff for the musicians because they
right,
don't eat
right,
this?"
right.
Like, and then I went to like, girls are wearing no pants and dressed like butterflies, and you're just like,
Yeah, very strange.
yeah, it's just a different vibe, and like I don't think either one's right or wrong. It's kind of like Sean Paul. If you're going to church, I don't know if you want to bump Sean Paul, but if you're at the club, ladies around, bump Sean Paul. It fits.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
Don't play Amazing Grace there. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Play that at
exactly.
church. So there's a
Time
time
and a
and place
place,
for
right?
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Right on, brother. So
So you've got some B-sides albums dropping at the end of December. What inspired this project, and what excites you about it?
Uh, Thank you for the cool questions, by the way, today. I think you always cool questions, but I always like talk about the nuts and bolts, man. I have songs that I feel like either didn't get enough or just didn't get released. So like a couple of them, if you're from our neighborhood or within East Coast radius and have seen me on a tour, then there's a good chance you've heard like John Gotti, or you've heard How Many Times, or you've heard like Deep in My Pocket. Some of these songs that like I've played a long time, and like some people know the words to, and always like, when are they going to come out? And then a lot of them were like for when I was younger, and I did a lot harder kind of sounding music, and it doesn't fit with where I am now. But I know folks that came up with me are always like, "Yo, I had that on a mixtape you made and sold at Metro Mart. Like, where
yeah,
is, yeah, for like 10, 15 years ago, where's that song?" And I'm like, I got to redo it. Well, finally I did them. And like I redid a whole bunch. And then it wasn't just all songs that I think needed redoing. A lot of them were ones where I just didn't have the technology to complete the song the way I wanted to. And like when it's a rainy day, you do half of it, and you don't really like finish something. Well, I went back and finished some of those, and I like Memories got a redo, an update sound. There's I'm Gonna Make It's on there, which that one I honestly like the original on that one too with Scott on it. But
there's
just
one.
I made it, so I'm gonna put it out.
There's a dope one called "Down by the River" that you redid.
That never got put on what do you call it, digital distributors. So
Streaming,
stuff like
yeah, it
that.
was only on YouTube, correct?
I lost the original tracks on a hard drive, pooped out on me.
Right,
Excuse me.
right.
And so I kind of was like, well, I don't think the original's mixed right enough to put on the internet. And I put it already through Reggaeville, and they were nice enough to put it out. But I heard it in my car later, and I was like, I don't know, I got to redo this. So after that, I was like, let me go back and remix it. And then I was like, oh, that's on one of the crapped out hard drives. So now I can't fix it. And I was like, all right, well, what other beats am I cooking right now? And I started like kind of singing over some of the ones that I'd, in the back of my head, I was like, I would love to take like Dipset or Heatmakers, which is another weird thing. It's not necessarily reggae, right? But I would love to take like the Heatmakers early Dipset sound and mix that with like reggae and boom bap.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I tried to do. And then I sang the song over it, and I was like, hey, that actually works. So I kind of ran from it there, and I was like, now I get to finally release at least a version of this song. So a lot of it was that, man. I lost stuff on a hard drive. Some stuff just came out wonky, or it was on the old mixtape stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. Or auto-tune was cool at the time, and I went a little too hard with the auto-tune on the original recordings, and I don't want to put that out. So stuff like that. But, a lot of it just comes from I have songs that I feel like I worked on and just kind of stowed away, and other versions that people might think sound more like the live versions that I never got to put out.
Have you ever taken shit down?
Yes.
You have. Okay, cool.
Multiple times.
A lot of bands that have done that. They take whole albums down. Like, that was our first album. It's fucking terrible. I'm taking it down.
One of those, I'll say this, man. There's a guy who passed away from our neighborhood, and he's well known. He played with a band called Grass is Dead as a percussionist. His name was Robert Montavani, but they call him Monty Sweet. Monty Sweet was like a blues guy, producer, scored movies, moved to our neighborhood before he passed. Awesome dude, man, and a brilliant teacher. But I feel like what were we just talking about? I'm losing my train of thought again.
If you'd ever
posting
taken,
right. So he has albums that like I wish that he would have posted, and I hope maybe I can talk his wife into doing it. But he didn't think they were good, but they were all done on like tapes, and then somehow he moved them to cassette tapes, and then had to get them off of like actual video cassette tapes had the audio. Crazy. And like he played them for me what he had ripped off those, and he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "These are some of the best drumming performances I've ever heard in a blues song." And like they're not. Oh, this is brilliant, bro. And like I wish he would have done that. So I feel like there's stuff that like, I can't ever that I miss that dude. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Those are tracks I would have loved to hear by him. And like so I have that sentimental thing, but they were honestly good music too. And like I think sometimes we forget that like someone else may hear your stuff and be really inspired by it. And so I have the old mixtapes that I took off like in a digital style and foreigner sound. One of them's coming back, and this was one of the ones I had done with Kurt from One Culture at Third Island Productions. Yeah. So I got 3, and this was from way back, and I don't know if I was sick or we just didn't mix vocals. Maybe it was a mix of both, the way that I had liked him in. And so he was really down with going back and fixing and redoing the title track. So I have Welcome to a Country's coming out the same. Pretty much anything that's been on the dusty shelf that needs to get out will be coming out before New Year's. So I'll have that and the old mixes too as well. And that's kind of my way of being like, all right, that's the old cultivated sound. For those who wanted an updated version of Tend the Garden or whatever it is,
yeah,
this is that. If you didn't hear John Gotti and I don't have Down by the River on the internet, here's that. And then now I can kind of be like, where do I want to, instead of throwing spaghetti and just going, what's next? I can kind of go, all right, what do I really want to make and what do I want to sound like from here on out? Which, again, is an extreme luxury a lot of artists don't get because you're trying to keep up with industry standards and whatever's happened. But the age thing, after a while, man, you develop like your own off-the-grid following where you can keep going no matter what. And I'm grateful for that. So now I intend to make better music if I'm given that opportunity,
So with the stories behind the music and stuff like that, and what new experiments or what deep cuts and stuff like that can fans expect on the B-sides and reworking the songs from your past, what was it like to be on that journey, to go from start to finish and say,
that's a good
this
question.
Is what I could do better?
Yeah, so when you go back from the old stuff to the new stuff, I feel like you're bringing up 2 things that you didn't cover on the first one. Playing it live for 10, 20 years or whatever it is, even a couple years, after you've played it live for a while, that's what you even expect. Not just people who've been to your shows. That's what you expect too, is they're like, all right, I'm used to playing this. The song should sound like this. When I play the recording and I first wrote it, that's not how I'm playing it now. So you kind of want to meet that standard as well. And then, yeah, it brings back memories. I've become a lot chummier with people that I've even had beefs with over the years because I've been reworking old songs, and it brings back memories and stuff. And you're like, this is the stuff that I miss working with people, is the actual like hands in the dough working on music, and that all that other junk's BS. And I wish that this was the focus. And so I think that too, man, it helps like kind of like help you squash some demons in your soul, or even like kind of like give you a hug and help you remember some good times. So that on maybe like a Hallmark card level, but I also think it gives you a chance to sit there and go, all right, man, I've been playing it this way forever, so I have a choice. I either go and actually try and make the next recording sound like, now that I have the tools, what I think is supposed to sound like from when it started. That was awful English, but you get my point. Or because I've played it a bunch, like Down by the River, let's do the hip hop beat. Let's do the, if I can't do it, it can't be done 50 Cent kind of like heart, like melodies. Let's do something that I've always wanted to do and try and incorporate that. And so I think you have those things, man. Do I want to make it like I've been playing it, or do I want to do it completely different? And both are kind of like, it's both are good for the song. Right. Revisiting and getting it where you want to is good for your song. If you stay and linger too much on an idea, then you don't move forward. So another reason why I'm getting all this off.
And do you feel the experience you've gained over the years gives you the confidence to try stuff that you wouldn't have tried 10, 15 years ago? Or
yes, and I think too there's a combination. I don't know, when you guys hear stuff from musicians where they do like a new twist or something, is it off-putting to you, or do you think that it's like, does it intrigue you as listeners?
I love it.
I love it.
I mean, Scotty, you're a musician too.
Yeah.
So,
and I got to go to a Rolling Stones concert in Las Vegas. Is right after Charlie Watts died, and they were auditioning the new drummer. So they didn't just play like their normal, tour set. They played like 120 or 130 songs to see what worked with that setup of the band. It was unreal. And to watch them figure out their dynamic and what their confidence was. And Keith Richards did an interview after that, and he said, "We've played songs I forgot that we even recorded. And I had to learn how to play them all over again."
Yeah.
And I used to own a
Dust that lick
drum
off.
and bass techno label. And the cool thing about that was one of my favorite things to do was get a producer, like a dope producer, say like Colombo. He's one of the greatest breakbeat producers out of Spain. You get him to do a track. Everybody knows Colombo. Then you get that track on your label. Then you have 10 different producers reproduce it in a different way, but it's got Colombo's name on it. So coming out of that scene, having that record label, I love the original being redone in different ways because I don't know, man. I've always liked that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some of my favorite tunes are remixes, man. What is it? Dennis Brown's "If the World Were Mine." I play
Right.
rub-a-dub all the time. I forgot what the original was. If this is "World Were Mine," but that one weird little cut he did is like in my head for life, and I sing it at shows. I whistle that junk down the street, you know.
Yeah. Great. The
Then
Grateful Dead did Scarlet Begonias, and Jimmy Buffett did Scarlet Begonias, and then fucking who was it?
Sublime
did Scarlet
Yeah.
Begonias. So I mean, and then a lot of other people. have done- So I like it. I think it's really cool, man. But I think it's funny when people they're like, "Oh, have you heard that new song from Sublime?" I'm like, yeah, like 40 years ago.
You mean Bunny Wailer?
The Half Pint version or Bunny Wailer song?
Yeah, What I Got by Half Pint. Anytime y'all want to have that conversation, I have a lot of takes on that. Maybe not today, but maybe down the road.
I do too.
That's one we can
Speaking
go
of-
into.
Speaking of that, I woke up to the news this week. It was devastating to me. Jimmy Cliff at 81 passed away. Jimmy Cliff was a huge inspiration to me. And then, so anyway, we'll jump to that in just a minute. But
Yeah. Go ahead and have that on your mind. We're definitely gonna talk about that. But sorry, man, I had to cut. I can't wait anymore. I got a special treat for everybody, man. We're talking about doing the remixes and remaking all the songs. And this is probably a song that not many people have heard. If I Pray, and Tony hit me up, said he was redoing it. It's one of my favorite Cultivated Mind songs. He's heard me play it on my podcast. He's heard me singing it before. Really stoked about it. I love the song. It was only on YouTube, so a lot of people didn't hear it. Well, his remix was really neat. I was really honored, man, that he made the new cut, and he's calling it the Hippie Fari cut. I'm completely blown away, man. To actually have a song named after your podcast or anything you're doing, yeah. I mean, from one of your favorite reggae bands, one of your favorite songs, that's definitely an honor and a pretty wild experience. And like I said, I've never been so excited. I played this song for my wife and Shane yesterday, and this is something fucking special. So
I can't get it out of my head.
yeah, go into it with your dancing shoes on is all I'm saying, bro. Because it is reggae to the core, but it is so much more. This is If I Pray, Hippie Fari cut. It's going to be released around Christmas time, kind of the New Year time. And you heard it first here on Hippie Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast.
They coming with their stumbling blocks and their obstacles just to line their tops of their pocket schools. And the government is impractical. We hear the big of the rebels and radicals. Our guarantees all tongue and cheek. Blatant switch to defraud the meek. See them never in the Prince of Peace. So we have to raise our army in the east. Ooh, if I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. I promise to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever. If I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. I promise to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever. Yo, they raining their bombs and rockets, slaying saviors and silencing prophets. For the statues of villains that scour our lands will one day be devoured insane. Slave holidays to keep our taxes paid. Meanwhile, politicians preparing our graves. Gotta stand defiant to complacent ways. On and upward climb since the ancient days. And if I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. I promise to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever. And if I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. I promise promise to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever. I promise to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever.
Stumbling blocks and obstacles to line the top of their pockets full. You know what? Those lyrics are timeless. Seems like exactly what's happening right now, man. You know, but if I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. Basically, I'm going to stay a believer even when the whole world's in a fever. And that's a challenge. But, I mean, you can look around. That's why I love a lot of your lyrics. Shane mentioned earlier in the quote, you're about social activism. You're about telling the truth. And most of that stuff's timeless because we thought shit would get better, and unfortunately it's getting worse. So if anybody needed this music, it's now. So
now's the time to drop it.
I like the fact that you're putting it out, that you're putting especially that song out, because that's, like I said, that sounds like you wrote it about this current administration. No offense to anybody who, you know.
I think it did like 8 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Something like that. Yeah. And then it came back, didn't it? Like a boomerang.
But that's pretty, that's sick, dude. And I love, like, I was telling my wife, I was like, listen to the skank with the horns. Ding, 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 ding. So that's just, you nailed it, man. And those drums,
Thanks,
that
man.
snare pops.
You don't think it's a little too much?
No.
Okay.
How much fun was it to retool that song and just go in and be like, this is the vision now?
Well, like I said, I made most of the beat already, and like I don't know why. I love like certain weird eras of hip hop that most people don't cling to. I had a friend named Brian Williams, or Fuzz, who was my homie and like still is my homie, but I grew up with him as kids in a water town called Pocosin. And
yeah. As it comes up, that's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of my. I only lived there like 7 or 8 years, but it was high school and middle school. That's a big part of my life. So
they got their own language.
Yeah. They do, and I'm bilingual out there, and I might say Bubba, but you know, most of those guys are all right, man. And like, it gets a bad rap for being racist, but there were a lot of us who were very aware of that, and like definitely tried to be the opposite. So, you know, big shout to Pocosin and the nice people that live there, and my mom. And right. You know, there are good folks there, man. But it's a waterman town and everything that comes with it. So. But I grew up with a guy named Brian Williams, and he's the guy who kind of helped help get my social media rolling. He was a big guy, a push for me early on when people didn't. Back then, there really weren't a lot of people, forget white guys or whatever, but a lot of people doing reggae, period, that were not Jamaican or Caribbean or European. So like it was just a lot of my friends didn't understand, and they were like, but you play metal, like you can do that, right? And I'm like, I did it. I don't want to do it. Right. And like, like you can play jazz. Well, I am doing that. It's just got a one drop behind it. And they're like, But I think like he was one of the first guys that really pushed me with that. And like, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere without Brian. So big shout to him as well. And I've been on tracks with him as well. He's an awesome dude, brilliant rapper, but I had people like that push me along the way, and so a lot of those old songs that I did too. Like you were talking about the mixes with the horns. I had a way to plug in a guitar, and I'm a guitarist.
Did I hear violin in there too?
Yeah, I was trying to. So the different eras in Brian Williams to link that together. This guy also introduced me to like an era of hip hop that at first I didn't like, and like I was always like Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Nas, period. Like I maybe Jadakiss, and like I just didn't. That was it. That was what I liked, and I didn't move outside of it. And he would always bump Dipset. And like when I was in high school, like he was all about Killer Cam. Joel Santana was dude, and I used to be like, these guys are entertaining, but I just don't get it. And then over the years, like I don't know, like they grew on me more and more and more as a hip hop group, and I really love the like early Heatmaker stuff. That are like, it's just symphonic, and sometimes it's computer instrument driven, but it was just like big, and it destroyed your speakers. And I was like, this I wish people still brought that sound into hip hop instead of like the trap cymbals. Like, where's the epicness of like New York hip hop in this? And so I wanted to make a reggae beat that had that. And then I was like, there's no way that this song is going to fit on there. And then I put it on there and I was like, it kind of works. Like, it's kind of like, yo, everything's turning technical and modern, and, you know, we're still trying to keep our feet in the dirt. So I think in a lot of ways, like the juxtaposition of the lyrics and how like kind of more hip hop driven it is, despite it probably should be a one drop and a kete, but I went that direction. So I think you get influences from people of your life, and things get stuck in your head. And like, shout out to Brian and shout out to Heatmakers and Dipset and stuff you heard as a kid that like just can't get out of your head. And you're like, I want to do, I don't want to copy, but like I want to give people that like blood pumping vibe when the beat kicks in, you know, kind of thing that I got from that kind of music, you know?
Yeah. And then, so to circle back to the Jimmy Cliff thing, I guess jumped the gun because it really touched me. I didn't realize I was going to be that affected by it, you know. But Jimmy Cliff is how I started my reggae journey. The song Reggae Night came out in like '83, and then he was in like The Harder They Come, the movie, and then that album is amazing. And then Club Paradise and stuff like that. To hear he passed away, and to see his history with Beverly's Records and how he introduced, you know, the Wailers and Bob Marley and worked with Toots and the Maytals and all that stuff, and his influence as an A&R man for that label. What do you think about his like legacy in general? Like what he did for reggae music? Do you think he was like one of the key players?
I mean, I think anybody who came out of Jamaica in that era is something that we emulate and had a big hand in what we do today. I think as songwriters go, Jimmy Cliff did something like a lot of Jamaican artists have tried to do, and because of issues with culture, language, and stuff like that, haven't been able to. And I feel like Jimmy Cliff got respected the way Sam Cooke is in America. And I think the quality of his songwriting made people pay attention to Jamaican songwriters more. And we wouldn't, like you said, obviously introducing the world to Marley and stuff, but that kind of like soul Motown feel incorporated in music, like a bit, which is a hallmark of stuff like Studio One. It's not like it was just him. But I'm saying that I think he got people to really look at Jamaican music as more than something you listen to on a vacation, and like to put Jamaican singers and songwriters in the same category as like Sam Cooke or, you know, Aretha Franklin, or people that are powerhouses worldwide, and brought international respect to Jamaican songwriting. So I think Jimmy Cliff in that regard might be like the godfather of Jamaican songwriting. You know what I'm saying? Because we all kind of bite his call in responses and stuff. Like you said, Toots and the Maytals, it's hard not to hear similarities between that and Jimmy Cliff, and not in a bad way, in a great, wonderful, that's the era kind of way. You know?
Yeah, because they all kind of bounced between like Studio One, Beverly's Records, Island Records was coming up at the time, and Trojan Records and all that they were all kind of bouncing around from studio to studio. So it was kind of cool to see them all work together interchangeably, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. You know, he was a Grammy Awards winner, Best Reggae Album, inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, knighted by the Jamaican government as a commander of the Order of Distinction, performed at the World Cup opening ceremony, and collaborated with a shitload of people: Paul Simon, Sting, The Stones, Sly and Robbie. So, it wasn't just, he was influencing.
Sly and Robbie collaborated with everybody
across
too.
The world, man. Yeah, right. Said the Stones, I think, but
yeah, they did stuff with Tosh, man. Walking, Don't Look Back, and all that.
Yep.
There's a lot of conspiracy around him passing with the Stones, which I'm not going to get into. I don't know the facts, but
oh, really?
I don't know. I'll look that up. That's like Bunny Wailer saying Rita Marley does witchcraft and obey. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know, but that's.
And he was in. Wasn't he in a movie? He was in The Harder They Come too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Cliff. Yeah,
that was like that, and then had an album based on it.
Yeah.
I got Harder
They Fall.
Yeah. Rockers is the best one in my opinion, but whatever.
I've got the Harder.
Oh yeah, no, Rockers is sweet too.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I've got the Harder They Come on a Beverly's Records label in my vinyl collection.
That's nuts.
Hey Tony,
not a remaster, an OG record. That's sweet. That's sweet.
I know you're in Virginia, but my vape died. Can I hit your vape? Is there any way to pass it through the computer?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to quit. I don't like chewing tobacco, and I did it my whole life, and I'm trying to quit. So that's the least reggae thing that I've been always doing, and people kind of look at me funny. I'm like, I had to blend in a redneck town. I'm not from there. I had to.
Dude, I wear cowboy boots, a belt buckle, and I use that fake dip. I work on a horse farm. So,
Well, I mean, I like sunflower seeds, and I like chewing stuff. Like, I've always had a problem with chewing on straws and all that junk.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm just like, the doctor's like, you got to go get checked out for cancer again. And I'm just like, all right. I need to get my life in
Yeah,
order.
I hear you.
It's vaping at the moment.
I feel you because I grew up in Denellen, Florida, which is still a town of like 2,000 people. It's like old Florida. And I've walking through high school, people are like, what are you listening to? I'd be like, oh, Bob Marley or Peter Tosh or something. They're like, you're listening to what?
Yeah,
You're not listening to like Dokken or,
fucking
Yeah. That was 80s metal.
Warriors, they gonna dream no more.
I just dated
that's enough of
myself,
that.
yeah.
Ours was CCR, man. I worked in a seafood kitchen. Big up Miss Margaret and Crab Cake House, and the Rollins brothers would either play like power metal or like Swedish metal or some junk, and then they would just like left turn, and it would be Fogerty for like 10 hours straight, just while you're cooking back there. So I have CCR like also branded into my soul, whether I wanted it or not. Just cooking there forever, but
For me,
yeah, it's that
was
kind of town.
Rush was
I worked
fantastic.
I worked at a McDonald's when my dad actually fired me for like 2 weeks to show me the real world. And I worked at McDonald's, and the manager played Rush in the kitchen like all day long. So to this day, I can't hear that song "Limelight" without thinking of Quarter Pounders.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
In the heat lamp, yeah.
I can't hear NSYNC without thinking. I can't go to a Walmart without thinking about NSYNC, but that's a really long story. So
Breaking
anyway,
out the toy packages.
Yeah, right. No, man.
Is that what it is?
I'll say it really quick because I'd have about $50,000 if I'd have played my cards right. Me and my ex, we lived by the Orlando airport, and there was a Walmart by there. This was probably 20 years ago. And we saw a poster board outside that said NSYNC poster signing this Saturday. We're like, fucking NSYNC. That's the dumbest shit in the world. Well, I wish we would have had an original poster signed by NSYNC because we probably would have been able to sell it. So I was like, from now on, I don't give a fuck who they are. They're signing posters. I'm getting one.
Ariana Grande. Yeah, sign my baseball cap.
Yeah, dude.
So you're getting ready to head out south for a tour next year with Queese. What can fans expect from that tour? And tell us about Queese and your musical journey together. How have you guys been together?
And if you're playing any of your B-sides on that tour, but anyway.
I will be, and I'm also playing mostly stuff for the new record, and then of course East Coast Rising's thrown in there, obligatory. But Queese, man, him and Ian are like the head dudes for Lost Soul Society. There's a lot of members, but over the years I've filled in on keys. They've helped me with X, man. We've split shows, we made music together. So I literally came up with these guys, and they came out whatever like little water town I came out of. I lived a lot of times in like the city areas too, in Newport News and Hampton. So like I've had access to different like clubs and venues. These guys came out of like Zuni and Ivor, Wakefield, Smithfield. These guys are coming out of like where ham and pork is. And there's cotton balls that are like the size of your house just rolled on the side of the street. And like to get reggae out of that neighborhood was, I don't know, people don't give those dudes enough credit for what they overcame.
Is that legit Smithfield ham? Are you telling the truth?
Isn't that crazy? So Newport News and Norfolk is like Norfolk's what you want to call like Pusha T territory. They got like murals and shit of Pusha T over in Virginia Beach, and then you go like 10 minutes over.
Pusha T,
like clips.
Am I allowed to say stuff?
Yeah, I guess.
The big blow guy.
Like Pusha T, yeah, like clips.
The big coke guy.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
applied cocaine to all of Virginia Beach?
Man, I don't know.
Okay,
maybe.
Okay. Just curious.
I don't think so. I think you got the wrong guy.
But
yeah, DeLorean never did coke.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, so that's like big in that neighborhood. And then you go like over the bridge, the JRB out of Newport News, which was like Ella Fitzgerald was born there. There's Greek neighborhoods and whatever, and it's very like every gas station has the best fried chicken, and it's just like it's a little bit hood in the best kind of way. And then you go over the bridge, and it's just like, oh, this is like cornfields, and like it's 10 minutes, man. And then it's like cotton balls and South Virginia's nuts. Like it's like city, like country towns, like bayou-y kind of junk, and then like actual country stuff. And then you got like Norfolk and Richmond, where it's like, don't walk around after 10 unless you're like trying to cause a problem. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to a bar and you got friends with you. But like, it's just
South Carolina is, bud, man. Like where I was born and raised in Goose Creek, man. You literally go to Johns Island, James Island, and then my mom taught at a school called Canehoy. She was the only white person at the entire school as the teacher. It was the descendants of the slaves in Charleston. It was all the slave descendants. They had a fishing village called Canehoy, but it was literally 20 minutes away from downtown Charleston, which was all rich people.
Yeah.
And then, like, you go to Canehoy, it's a poor fishing village, but they seemed happier than the rich people. It was funny, man. But anyway, yeah. It's like you drive 20 minutes in any direction. It's a completely different fucking world. Wow.
Yeah, and I don't think people really get that about Virginia. When like you hear like
Right.
Pusha T's from 10 minutes down the road, and then you hear Smithfield Hands from the other way. I'm like, I'm as confused as you are, man. Like I remember as a kid, I just didn't go to Smithfield, and then one day I like got a job there, and I was like, I'm gonna drive to work, and I was like, what is? There's alpaca farms. What is this? This is 10
Right,
minutes across the
exactly.
bridge. Like this is nuts, man. And so like, and it's different over there too. You drive over the bridge, police are different. I've gotten arrested a couple. I'm not gonna go down that road. I've been in trouble with police a couple times in both
So have I.
areas, and a couple times for traffic stops, and then in Hampton for stupid stuff.
Yeah.
In Hampton and Newport News, I was still treated a lot differently, even though I was caught red-handed. And then in Smithfield, I felt like I was hassled for no reason multiple times, and like
Sure.
pulled over for secondary offenses I shouldn't have been pulled over for. So
Right.
it's like country, like don't drive over the speed limit. You know what I'm saying? And then you
Yeah,
go over the other spot, and like someone will see you like hitting a blunt on the corner, and the cops like and they just keep driving. Like, we got shit to do, man. Like, so I don't.
That's funny.
It's
man.
10 minutes, completely different worlds. You
Right.
know.
Yep. That's amazing, though. That's a beautiful thing, bro. So that's awesome, man. Love Queese, absolutely incredible guy. Are you doing anything cool to prepare for the tour? I mean, mentally, musically, because I know Natalie Rise, when I had her on the podcast, she like when she goes on tour, she eats raw vegan, she keeps herself, she meditates, she does all, she does. Did you have any like any traditions or anything you do when you're out on the road, like especially on a tour? You know what I mean? To keep
Oh,
yourself
man,
grounded, to be able to rip that music up, or you just
I'm unfortunately quite low vibrational, admittedly,
I
in
feel
that
ya.
department. And like I try to, but it's mostly what I'm listening to. I'm driving. I don't have a tour bus. I can't really like. I'll meditate, but somebody's gonna get like a bumper into them. So
Exactly,
I don't have the ability. Maybe if I had that, I would do that probably, but and sleep more and all that junk. But
yeah, sure.
sometimes I've almost given my drummer a heart attack. Big up TC trying to get to a gig before. So like things aren't exactly
Hi,
like
what up?
we make this. Yeah, bro, big up TC. And like things are tough to pull off sometimes when you're driving yourself from spot to spot and you have a gig the next day in a far off state from another far off state that's not your house. So I think that there's certain things that I do. I make sure that I have certain music there that I keep my spirits up. There's certain artists that I listen to nonstop. There's certain podcasts that I listen to and stuff like that. But I think mostly, man, is if I'm not in a rush, I take a lot of breaks. And so those little grassy areas where like people let their dogs poop, like I'll go get my lunch in Subway or whatever I got to do. And like, if I'm on the road, I'll go get a Chipotle, and then I'll go sit in the grass and just kind of hang out, just stare off at trees for a minute and go, all right, and get grounded for a minute. And then I hop back in the car when I'm done. But a lot of times I'm in such a rush that like, I had an interview with Root Fire people one time, and like they asked me that. They're like, do you have anything that's like, what do you do after like gigs to get centered and calm down? I'm like, bro, I eat pizza and watch like a horror movie at 2 a.m. I get home at like 1:30. I'm like, you're looking for some spiritual answer I'm going to give you. That's what in the studio, and when I'm writing songs, I dig deep. Half the time, I got Jerry Reed's Eastbound and Down, loaded up in truck. That's just running in my head, bro. What's
About
up?
1 a.m. on a weekend night's the best time to get a hold of him because he's always on the way home from a show. So
Exactly. And like it's just Jerry Reed in my head. I'm just moving
funny,
on.
man.
So hence why I also needed to take a break recently and actually get songs done, get things in order, and come out swinging a little bit more professional next year. So Queese is awesome musician, man, and he's got a one-man set as well. What was his band? But he's releasing some music too, man. And like I've worked with him since I came up. We just gel well together. The weird stuff that we like that's not reggae, we also like that same kind of stuff. So
I can't wait to have him on the podcast.
yeah, we'll get him on here, man. I'm sure he would love to do that. And the big thing for Queese too is that we haven't done, for example, tonight, we're doing a show at a place called Oceans 14. We play there all the time. And I love the spot, big up Nish. But we play there. I play there at least once a month. I know he plays there a lot too. So we're going to go out and like kind of start tonight pasting together a different set. And normally it's like he'll play a set, I play a set, and then we jam a few together. But I think we're going to try and do something different that with two guys on tour, I feel like we could do instead like us on the same stage, both our sets kind of intertwined. and like go from song to song, supporting each other how we need to get our
You
songs
good. You guys
done.
play great together.
And then thanks, man. And then we can go like for a part, we can go acoustic together and like have dips and actual kind of like sections, quarters of the set, kind of what we're talking about. And
That's great. Man.
essentially bring in some different songs, and also, like I said, have more than one loop going, have different instruments, have him doing guitar and bass and samples as well and singing. And that way it's just like, it'll be one of my songs. We work our way into one of his songs, and there won't be as much dead space. One of us can be playing something while the other one loops. So it's going to look a little different, but hopefully in a really much better, cleaner, and entertaining way. So people aren't just waiting for you to build the loops the whole time, and you actually feels orchestrated. So I'm looking forward to working that out with Queez. Tonight we're going to try and do our first, at least, run of what tunes we want, and then figure out how we're going to mash them together. But it'll be different than a normal Cultivated show or a normal Lost Soul Society Queez show. So
I love that,
we want to bring
man.
something different on.
Yeah.
Lost Soul, Cultivated. I love it, dude. It's always cool when people collaborate and, kind of combine styles, man. That's a beautiful thing. That's what art's all about, right?
Yes.
Isn't it? Absolutely. I firmly believe that, man. So, I got to do this. Dun, dun, dun. I wanted to bring up a topic. I love bringing up topics with you that nobody else really wants to probably discuss or people are thinking about, but the message versus the style, my friend. So do you see a divide between the style and the message in modern reggae? And maybe more so that you're talking about it, kind of like the differences in maybe the message and the style between modern Jamaican reggae and modern American reggae. Like Kabaka Pyramid versus, the Cali bands, what they're talking about, message versus style. And what's your opinion on it? I mean, let's hear it. 'Cause I never got one.
Diplomatically speaking, because I still like gigs. And like, there's people that I play with that are like in the American scene that I run into gigs with, and like, they don't sound anything like what I'm trying to do, but I like what their version of what they do. Like, I've never really been the campfire guitar guy, and like, usually when I see that, I'm like, all right, this is cool, man, but like, it's all right. And then like, I watched Joey Harcum play, and I was like, I was enthralled. And the guy's like, his picking, beating on the guitar, the way he sings, just everything about it was like, oh, this is what everyone's aiming for. This guy, all right, I get it now. And like, there's people that I wouldn't have normally like bumped their albums, and then I ran into them, and then I hear them, and I'm like, yo, this is all right. Oh, okay. I'm a fan. You won me over in 2 songs. You know what I'm saying? And like,
dope live is Kyle Smith. He actually did that.
I just played with him. Fantastic.
He's fucking badass live, bro. He's good regardless, but he's funny as hell, but he's just really good live. Like, he does it. He does it. He does it right.
He's a real cat too, man, and he works his ass off. And I have nothing but respect for him for how much he's put in and kept things going, man. And honestly, put a lot of groundwork a lot of these punk and ska bands are walking on. So, I give him mad respect for that. And like, we had a good show the other night. So big up to Mr. Kyle Smith and the whole crew.
Who the fuck is Kyle Smith, by the way?
Yngwie Malmsteen, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
They used to have a shirt like that too. It was like Yngwie who? Yngwie Malmsteen. I don't know. Kyle's one of those dudes that I've been happy enough to cross paths with. And again, man, like I meet dudes like Joey and Kyle where I'm like, I don't come from the same background of music, but when I see them do their thing on stage, like, I'm immediate fans, and they're winning me over. So the divide is tough, man, because there is not really a divide. And there's guys that ride the middle, and there's dudes like, I don't know, man. I don't think Kevin Kinsella's out there hating on white boy reggae, but we also know where his heart is. You know what I'm saying? Dude loves roots reggae. So I think that I don't want to sit here and say that there's one or the other, but when I was younger, there was an obvious divide because a lot of American bands did not have like keyboards. Like, you would not hear a bubble, and you would be like, and it just didn't, or they wouldn't play the drums with conviction, and you would just, and it would just make you growl a little bit, or the singing was weak, and you're like, yo, some of the greatest reggae singers can't really hold a note, but they like went 110% on the track, and like I love Sizzla, but Sizzla's like the real thing. There are actual voice cracks that they just left in, and like it sounds like it's supposed to be there, so I wouldn't have taken it out either.
Boy, mockeries and phrase, man. He is a fucking beast. I love him, man.
110% on every track.
Been doing
and
this
like,
shit for 30 years too.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, he can hit some wild notes that most people can't hit. So as a singer, he's pretty good. But there's times also where he was like, it's not about me hitting the note perfect. It's about giving it. My voice is, I'm going to give it everything. Same with Capleton. I'm going to give it everything I got because I want you to feel.
I want a hamburger, motherfucker. Like at a drive-thru. Like, hold on, wait, that's all good, man.
Yeah.
So American reggae bands, do they tend to avoid certain themes like God, revolution, or struggle? And it's really out of ticket sales. I was actually asked this question the other day on a podcast. If I saw a spot for a conscious-minded music festival.
I think you'll always have people doing that because that scene is not a scene. It's a culture and people have followed it forever. So reggae and Rastafari is not going anywhere. And I think you're always going to be able to have festivals for that. Will they sell as many tickets? Probably not, because people like what is packed. You can put on playlist chill vibes and hear every reggae band to come out of America and not one single Jamaican act. And so I think a lot of people, just like McDonald's and everything else, like what's easily shoved at them, take that, and therefore don't sift through to hear what the real thing is. I think that there's American bands that do pay homage. John Brown's Body, Groundation, there's a bunch.
What's up? Groundation is what the fuck is up, man? Straight up.
They're down. They're down and understand what is going on culturally in the music, and like are not trying to step on toes, and are just trying to help push the ball forward. So
look at their
I think
fan bases. Right? They're mostly over in Europe. They're overseas. I mean, from your experience.
Which is the international scene.
International audiences embrace the heavier messages more.
And so there's the divide, I think, that is obvious to most people in the Rastafari sense. Not even so much musically, because you do, like you said, modern guys are using different beats and stuff to craft reggae music, but they're keeping the message the same. And I think talking about God has never been profitable. And I think if you went in the game to try and make money off that, then you know better than the smiling preachers, you know what I'm saying, that don't let you in when Katrina hits. So I think that's part of the issue is, I had a buddy of mine, and I won't get him in trouble, but whatever. Zach said something recently. My merch, he's pretty much my crew dude, and he goes, he was like, how many songs are these guys in America going to write about how great music is? And like, I don't know why that killed me so hard. But pick up Zach, and I was just like, yo, that's exactly how much like non-hitting, is music is not dangerous. Reggae was meant to be dangerous in a political sense, and it was meant to preserve healthy things. So if you're not preserving what the message of reggae music is, and you're promoting the garbage, my wife, who's a genius, also big up Rachel, said this. She was like, it's one thing when people appropriate. It's when why does everyone have to appropriate and corrupt? And that's the problem. You want to jack from the style. Well, we don't want to be considered a reggae band, and we think that's limiting to our audience. Well, you had no problem when you had no audience and needed to get one and called yourself a reggae band. So I think a lot of that's the divide, is the manipulation and commercialism of reggae music. It's not that like there aren't bands. I love the Expanders. People can call them white boy reggae, but that's reggae, and they're good. And like that's old school
Tribal
reggae
Seeds.
with harmonies.
Called Tribal Seeds white boy reggae, you know what I mean? But they're
and the drummer's a Caribbean dude, and bands have made them many people.
White, dude. So is Steven Jacobo. So is their bass player. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the thing. But that's what they call it because it comes out of Cali. They call it the Cali roots sound. I call it American roots. They have their own sound. We talked about this the other day.
And there's things that fall in the middle. Sorry, my bad. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
I saw. I was watching a YouTube video of Tribal Seeds doing Vampire. And they started the song out, and then they stopped it in the middle. And he goes, everyone keeps telling me not to put politics in my music. He goes, but if you're going to show up at my show, there's going to be politics here until these racist people are out of the White House.
Fuck yeah.
And he was like, now play. And then they started the song Vampire all over again.
Yep.
And it was just an amazing like break in the song to send a message, you know?
Yep. That's a beautiful thing, man. But
and that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, but the beginning of my podcast, man, reggae was started for revolution, and that's one of the reasons it was started. I mean, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I love a good song about a girl. Like one of my favorite Tribal Seed songs is Dark Angel. You know what I mean? He's me and Kira. That's our song. A beautiful song. It's about a girl, and I like to party and hang out, so I do love the songs that are like, you know, knock back a beer, smoke a blunt on the beach, have fun too. So. But I do
There's
love
a time and place.
I do love the roots. I like punk. I like metal. I like it separate. If I'm listening to reggae, I like the roots. Now, I can listen to lyrics about girls, listen about people partying, but it's the roots sound that, you know, I absolutely love. But let me tell you, I mean, obviously, there's nobody like the St. Croix roots master Von Benjamin, who he kept it straight up, bro. I mean, you want to talk
he's got
about
love songs
listening to
too.
these podcasts and learning. What's that?
He got love songs
What's
too,
that?
though.
Oh,
He's
no,
got
he
love
certainly
songs too,
does.
though. Yeah.
Oh, 100%, man. But yeah, like I said, he kept it straight up. Like
Yeah.
Even in his love songs, though, you learned something about yourself.
Yeah, it's a authentic, knowledgeable reggae jam, even if it's for the ladies, and it's not just trying to like woo them. It's trying to appreciate women on like a earthy, mother of the earth, bring life level, not just like shake it in your booty shorts. So I definitely understand what you're saying there. That's why I like Vaughn too as well. But
So
I sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry, there was kind of a delay. I was gonna say, I know you love the hard bass, man. I know you love it. How do you feel about like some of my favorite reggae music? Straight up is the dub reggae, man. It's the hard militant dub reggae. Adam Prescott, Iration Steppas, from the UK, Dub Casman from Japan, Dub Machinist, OBF, all Rutical Attack Records, Adam Prescott, all that shit. It's that 4 to the floor Steppas kick pattern. You're like you know what I mean? And it's just, but a lot of it's over in UK, a lot of it's over in France. They have these crews, you know what I mean? These dub crews that are huge.
Sound
and
systems.
Yes, man. I love that. How do you, and then obviously my favorite female artist in the world, talk about her all the time, is Holly Cook. She's not dub reggae, but she's out of the UK and she is something special. Her dad was a drummer for the Sex Pistols and her mom was a backup singer for Culture Club. And she is absolutely incredible. Holly Cook, HOLLIECOOK, check her out. But because I know you love the heavy bass. I know you're doing a lot of stuff. I know you love the hip hop. I know you like the shit that hits hard. How do you feel about like that militant dub marching up a mountain with the drum hanging over you, you know, about to go into war sound, you know?
I mean, I dabble with that, so I'm a big fan of that. I really like the Revolutionaires records, where everything was like a steppers. If you like Black Uhuru, you better like that. That's like every beat, and Black Uhuru is
Black Uhuru, man.
But in Sly and Robbie,
I took it.
Yes.
Yeah, I took a second date to a Black Uhuru concert, and then she was not into it at all. And I just looked at her. I was like, "Well, I guess you can find your own ride home then, because I'm not doing this. It's not gonna work."
Well, here's a
you
trivia
failed the litmus
question.
test.
Everybody knows. Here's a trivia question for you. What does Uhuru mean in Swahili?
I don't know.
Freedom.
Oh, nice.
Black Freedom was the name of the band. Yeah.
Uhuru. Uhuru.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Uhuru?
No, I wasn't. I didn't connect it because my brain's slow. That's my bad. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I always got an absolute kick out of that name. So,
I thought it meant victory. It means freedom.
I'm pretty sure it means freedom.
You could be right. I'm not going to debate this. I'm a white guy and I don't know. But if you know and you've researched it, you know, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Look it up real fast. We got to know. So, I guess
I'm
when
not trying
it
to
comes
get canceled.
down to, it's the music and the message kind of, you know, it is what it is. Everything progresses. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
So I just don't like the white guys in reggae that make fun of other white guys for like claiming Rastafari or having dreads. Like, oh, we're Rasta, and I'm not going to mention.
So there's the
guy who said
divide.
it, but he said it, and it really kind of bugged me. And I was like, it's none of your business what anybody else is. And Rastafari is not racist. It doesn't matter what color you are. You can subscribe to it if you want to. So just back off, man.
That's where. All right, so the divide. That's the divide. I think when people that's the part where like my wife was saying, you don't just borrow, you corrupt it, and it's like you spit at it. And I think that part is disrespectful. I think a lot of, and if I can speak candidly, I grew up with a lot of culture in my house. My dad was like kind of an import. He's like a military brat and a German mom, and like lived in Germany a lot of his life. And so I grew up with some of that in the house, people speaking another language. My mom's family is mixed, but mostly Italian and has that very heavy. And I literally eat that. Let's just put it this way. My grandmother was hardcore about it, so it got passed down. And so I grew up with that. My dad worked with Japanese folks that were always over the house, and I had a Japanese triathlete, big up Yoshi, that like lived with me for times, and a Polish aunt that would come and didn't speak any English, and just a lot of like crazy international kind of stuff going on. And so I never really I don't think from a part of like I don't have culture necessarily, or I don't have something and I feel like I'm missing a piece. And I feel like America has done a lot to, even whether we talk about it this way or not, everybody's culture has been warped or squashed in a way, I think, to where it becomes palatable as American. And so I don't think there's a problem with assimilation or your people becoming American, but there's a part where you become defensive because you don't have culture or a background and you feel like you're missing a piece. So you begin to attack people that do, or maybe because they have a cultural background, they understand how to share in a more appropriate way and and know where the line or the boundary is without you having to tell them. Or are actually interested in other people's cultures in a deeper way than just, oh, that's cool to bop my head to, let's use that. And instead is like, yo, what are they singing about in this, man? Why is every salsa song got to talk about your heart, coffee, your girl, and war? Like, what's the deal? And you know what I'm saying? And like, I'm like salsa music and Italian music does this too. It's always about like coffee, a woman, a war, like a big war. That's really it. They're all like about coffee, war, and your heart. Like that's all Latin songs.
Pictures of me standing outside of a Greenpeace boat when I'm 10 years old, holding a protest sign. You know what I mean? So you want to tell me I wasn't a revolutionary kid? You're fucking crazy. You know, my mom was like, oh my god.
And I get that, but you were blessed to have that in your family. And I'm saying I think a lot of people cling to really far subcultures or different identities that don't normally fit them because they feel sick. And like I think people even like Burning Spear, like shock people saying Africa's for African, Europeans for the Europeans. I don't think necessarily say you don't love people that are different. I think he's saying like people got through wars, slavery, and everything else so far from home that you feel disjointed. Why the hell do you have allergies all the time? Because for centuries you weren't from here. And you're sneezing because this shit, you're not designed for this. I bet if you went back to where your people are from, you probably stopped sneezing unless you've assimilated or whatever, evolved to the new place. But I'm saying we don't think about things like that because it's scary to talk about, but it's because a lot of people are uncomfortable. So when they dip their toe in another culture and someone goes, you should learn the real thing, they get like mad defensive and they're like, well, I don't, this is just white boy shit. Pardon my language. I shouldn't have to be held accountable. No, man, if you're going to come into this, you should at least know that there's a level of respect, spirituality, consciousness that you should have to this. And you shouldn't be this isn't just going into Walgreens. This is a whole culture built on a history of pain and suffering, and we're lucky to be involved, bro. So, like, and if you're going to nip from it, at least be like, yes, we do play reggae sometimes because that is an influence on us. And don't say you didn't when I hear a bubble and a skank and a one drop, but you want to sing instead about getting wasted or whatever it is because you don't want to have to hold. That's the message. You don't want to have to hold yourself accountable to the fact that there's actual important shit being said in this music, and you can't hold that flag. So what do? You go, well, this is stupid. Nah, man, maybe you should think a little harder. Maybe you should read a little more. Maybe you should listen a little deeper and not attack the other people who have because you feel insecure. And that's what I'm saying. Culture plays a history, and I don't really have that problem. And maybe as a white dude I should, but I don't feel like I step on toes in a wrong way or spit at Jamaica. And like the fact that people do that and then go, why is it I'm catching flack? Because you're a knucklehead. And like it's like being a blues fan and being like, I hate black people. Tough luck, man. That's where it comes from. Well, I like sushi, but Japanese people get under my. I don't mess with their culture. I made this new thing. It's called Ohio sushi. Come on, bro. At least give some credit to where it's from. It's definitely Japanese, and why is there a problem saying that? You know what I'm saying? So after a certain point, you start to realize that a lot of this has nothing to do with the music, the people who like brought this up, or the guys who were involved like us that are just trying to push the ball forward. This has to do with their own insecurities, knowing that they're not contributing to the culture, and people are watching going, what the hell, man? So to me, that's where the divide comes, is when you actually spit on the culture. Because there's dudes out here, I'm playing with Lapaka Roots, man, in a couple weeks. Nice cat. Big up to Lapaka Roots, Rusty, his whole gang. And like, I met the dude, he's a Hawaiian cat. He plays like more kind of like relaxed music. I loved his vibe. Amazing performer. And like, I like the fact that he was real in his lyrics and like wasn't crapping on the music. So yeah, he's not coming out hitting air horns and screaming at people and beating his chest like Cousin Tony, who's a hairy monster. But like, there's still like, there's something about his message where you're like, that's reggae. That's what it's supposed to be. The dude nailed it. And like, I think that's the divide people like get kind of hung up on. And then they go, well, we're just trying to have a good time. And like, this music was made for people who were also trying to have a good time and could not. So like, show a little consideration and like, don't forget to go, by the way, this is actually a Bunny Wailer tune. Or by the way, this was not made over there. This is a whoever tune, you know, Frankie Paul or whatever. And so I think a lot of people don't have a awareness maybe of it. I hear some guys who are even in industry, like I got into reggae like 4 years ago through this one band. I don't really listen to Jamaican reggae. I'm like, in 4 years, you didn't like just once go, what does the real thing sound like? just once,
Right.
like, yeah.
With that awareness and everything like that, when you make music, what do you hope lasts beyond you? Like when you leave and you're done and you retire and head off to the Caribbean and live, fishing for the rest of your life, what do you think is still here when you leave?
Tony, can I answer that question for you?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
You said it on the podcast quite a few times, and you always said something powerful. People always want to be famous, but they don't always think about the legacy they leave. In 10 years, would you want your grandmother to hear the song, or are you going to be like, I can't fucking believe I said that? You know what I mean? So I know that might not be your whole answer, but I know some of it is being able to listen to your music in 10 years and going, yeah, I made that. That was awesome. Not cringing like, I can't believe I said that.
I think that's, yeah, I mean, that's one. And I'm dropping songs next year that I know I'm going to cringe out in 10 years, but I'm also like getting too old to drop snot. So I'm getting them out, getting the bad kids out, like, and moving on. And I'm trying to like get some of that out, but like, I am conscious of that. And I think there's also like, dude, ego is involved in art, like, cause you're creating stuff. So you have your idea of whatever it is. And I think after a while, man, like you have a part of you that is normal and has common sense. And then you have the dopey musician part of you we don't like to admit that has highfalutin ideas of like, I'm going to change this sound and I'm going to make this a home for this kind of music and people will come here and blah, 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 blah. And then you also have a part of you that's like, just don't break it. Just screw your ideas. Just don't break it. And so I think that there's part of that guides me as much as like, oh, I want to make an impact or I want to change things musically. There's a part of me that's like, yo, as long as like you say Mingus and wear him on a shirt and put some of his ideas in your music and go, that was from Charles Mingus, you inspire another group of kids to go listen to him instead of Miles Davis. And like, I like Miles Davis, but like Mingus gets slept on. And Monk is great too, but Mingus gets slept on. And like, and I think that, and if you like the attitude of Miles, go check out Charles Mingus. It's cranked to 100. And like, I feel like that's something that like, if I got people to go, oh, well, you like salsa. Yeah, and I also love Eddie Palmieri. Rest in power. If you like the Keys, that's where I dig some of my ideas. Or Ray Barretto on congas. I love his stuff. Then there's someone will go and listen to it. So I think, or if you're in reggae, man, I love the like old crusty horns with the delay. Where are you getting those ideas from? Oh, dude, big time. King Tubby, Burning Spear, Black Ark and Lee Perry. Yeah, all those Who Kim, Channel One, like all that old stuff. I love that stuff. So if you come to me and you go, oh, well, where'd you get that from? Or I don't announce it on the mic, which I usually do. And if we're talking later and you go, where'd you, like, blah, blah, blah. I want you to go check that out. So I feel like part of your legacy or whatever is helping the legacy of your heroes. And the people that didn't necessarily get their flowers in their time, or maybe people didn't understand them till late. And you can hear the power of that and maybe why it didn't connect with people doing the Charleston or whatever it was at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this dude was on some other junk. And so you want to pass that on and go, look, man, you're a musician too. You're a music lover. I would love for you to give me your opinion on this and actually hear this because I'm hearing some wild stuff in this. So I think your legacy is also like to your heroes and then also doing it in a way where you don't step on their toes so much. And like I said, man, I'm not famous and people aren't like paying that much attention. So I don't think that there's ever going to be a point where like, I think all of us need to get a hard bite of reality at some point. Yo, start the Z, Ganidi.
Well, Harrison Stafford, man, he said something great, dude. He's like, I could do an album, I could do a song with anybody, with you know what I mean, with Swayze or with anybody. He's like, I choose to do it with, you know, the Abyssinians and you know, the guys that there was a guy, I'm trying to remember his name. He was a Shona singer. It's this militant music out of Zimbabwe. The guy's like 90 years old. He featured him on an album. He goes, because I feel like it is part of my job to showcase the elders and bring them back and give them a voice. You know what I mean? He's like, because they're the ones who paved the road for us to do. He's like, yeah, I could make an album with the most popular guy right now and sell 1 million copies. He's like, but it's about carrying on the message and keeping the elders legit. And
yeah, they shouldn't be playing the same gigs we are. Right. That's when that bites. Right. Excuse me one moment. Hey, Zito!
The dog's going nuts. That's funny.
But yeah, so I think that that's your biggest thing is someone who's entered into a traditional genre. Now, if you're just playing whatever's new and whatever, and then you're trying to morph that, I get that. But like, I think a lot of us have heroes that we wish got more attention, and so a lot of us put that in our music. 100%. Yep. Yeah, and like that's kind of what you're doing too. You're like, I definitely want people to get this vibe from this song or whatever, so they go and find this person. And then I think you got like your own ideas. I like that part of my whatever image is mad scientist, because I don't want people to be that safe either. I want you to be traditional. I want people from my neighborhood to go, I don't know, man, you can mix this with this. Homie did it and it didn't come out that bad. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's that too, where you're like, even in your own neighborhood, you're like, I don't know, man, if we're really like trying to push something, we're not going to make a name for our area by playing it safe. So maybe we need to mix some elements that come from here. And like, I think that's a part of your legacy too, is trying to be like, how do I connect this with my hometown somewhere to where it's not like messing up the original thing? And like,
So,
also
like,
gets people to
that what
believe in it
sparked
from
the
your
shift?
neighborhood.
I'm sorry. Is that what sparked the shift?
What do you mean?
Like, I know you want to move like towards Caribbean jazz, maybe a little bit that kind of stuff, but keep it reggae. Is that is giving the heroes or the people that really inspired you kind of a voice that were kind of the unsung heroes? Is that kind of like a reason for the shift, to be able to like showcase them, or just kind of follow in their footsteps?
I appreciate underdogs a lot, so there's part of that too, where I see guys that have really had the amount of people that don't know who Ernest Ranglin is, and he invented
Right.
skanking, and then I also think
Dean
that that's all
Fraser.
that reggae guitar is. Yeah, Dean Fraser, mighty sax player, man, played on everyone's records, and like and Monty Alexander, Kesey. These guys were the originators of the music. Literally, Ranglin, the originator of scratch guitar, and then after stuck picking, all that stuff. And then what happened is people got stuck on that, and that became the style. That dude went on to play, listen to Rank Lipso and Tico Tico and all of his covers of classic flamenco tunes. The guy's a beast jazz guitar player, one of the best I've ever heard. But people don't really know the name, who are kind of more just familiar with reggae, but don't go that hard into it. And he really is the sound that you hear on guitar. But like now is playing, all of his records are heavily jazz influenced. He played with the greats when they came to the Caribbean. He's a BBC One guitar player forever. Like he was the dude and still is to me. And I feel like that's part of what we do too, is we want to get guys like that. I want my guitar, I teach guitar too on the side. I want my students to know that name up there with Miles and Mingus and everybody else, because in my opinion, there would be no reggae, Caribbean music, Caribbean jazz without that cat involved. So, I think that's part of it too, and that's why I'm heading that direction. When I started off, man, I was into flamenco and Ernest Ranglin, and I wanted to like, and Kenny Burrell and somehow Burning Spear, and I like want to put that in the same pot and make that in Midnight and make that into something, and I wanted that to be kind of whatever we were hitting. And blues also was where I came up, so Hampton's known for blues, and like I think everybody who ever played any kind of music still came up playing at Old Town Tavern or Victoria Station, Big Pink stuff, something like that, where they came up playing blues and jazz music in Hampton Roads. Even if you're a hip hop dude, you've been to one of those nights, and there's a big community there. So Patrick Ryan, Bobby Blackhat, Billy Daniel Trio, Tony Rosano, Lupatazzi, and On the Verge. Like these guys have kept this going, and so I feel like it's also part of our generation to acknowledge that like Hampton's a blues and jazz neighborhood, and I haven't always put that in my records except for like at heavy doses in one song and then like backed off. And so I kind of want to, and I'm getting older, man. I want to play a hollow body, put on a suit, have a nice something to sit and sip on, and then and play that. So I'm trying to kind of go that route with things too.
I saw him do the hollow body in the suit, man. It was sick.
So explain what blue reggae is, and what does that style sound and feel like to you?
So there's been guys who, and I forget the name of the crew, that did like kind of blue in a reggae style. And some of my favorite records from below the bass line up to Ring Lipso are, I love the jazz combo stuff that's done with that. So blue reggae, the name obviously is like a rip on every single, like every jazz artist has some blue this or kind of blue or midnight blue or something like that, where they're using 4 chords instead of like 2-5-1. There's dominant 7s on the 4s where you play like Dorian modes. It sounds like almost like Latin jazz kind of vibes, and it goes really well with reggae. And I always kind of wanted to mix those. So I kind of want to make a reggae album that is along that idea of like, it's reggae, but the chords are blue, and there'll be a couple songs with singing, but a lot of it's instrumental. And I want people to almost get kind of like, like a classic jazz record and maybe a couple Motown-y kind of tracks, but I want it to sound like it comes from that camp as well as reggae. I want people to really hear the jazz mixed reggae, because in my opinion, jazz helped birth reggae, and it's like they're bedfellows, or however you want to say it. They're not far off. So that's kind of where I'm aiming for that one. And a big salute to Ernest Ranglin on that album is what we're trying to do too. So,
and that's the cool thing. Groundation pulls off the jazz reggae, the 7-minute songs, long form solos, and they're actually getting a lot more shows here in the U.S. One of their main Their main fan base was over in Europe, you know what I mean? But they're starting to gain a lot of popularity over here, and you know, with you doing it, I mean, do you see jazz and reggae naturally blending more in the future scene? Because I mean, I do.
I think in certain bands that's already been a thing. I think you have to have people that do it for a while.
Yeah.
And so you have people like Groundation from their first record, He Brought Gate, that starts off with like key changes and a drop. Yes. And then like nice solos. I think that's always been a part of it. Tommy McCook. I mean, you have that going on in the 60s and 70s doing Take 5. Like, I feel like I think that's who did it. But you have a lot of people who are doing jazz interpretations 50, 60 years ago. And where it started from was them, you know, copying kind of big band swing through the radio waves. There's a brilliant interview with Ranglin on that where he's like, yo, we effed up. And he didn't say it like that, but he was like, yo, we heard instead of we heard, and that's kind of what Bert Ska and the chop and all that kind of stuff, skanking. So I think that's always going to be in there. I think newer bands, like not newer, but, you know, not from 50 years ago, like Groundation and John Brown's Body have always incorporated those elements. And I think that's been a big part of, I don't know, of the good kind of American reggae, where we're mixing in a little bit of like, I don't know, like just different kinds of chords and more developed ideas on melodies, rather than like dance hall, which is about the vocalists and stuff. So I think that's something cool that a lot of the bigger artists have done from our country, is to try and include jazz. And I do see that happening more and more. So I think that's probably going to be like a hallmark of East Coast music, as it always has been. And I think you're going to hear that come out a lot more from East Coast reggae musicians over the years. And I hear that coming out more. A Lost Soul Society, One Culture, all the dudes from our neighborhood. I told you we're a blues and jazz funk neighborhood. So all of us, United Souls will throw in like R&B kind of stuff in too. So that's a part of where we come from. We try and keep that in the music, you know?
You have to write down the name Holly Cook. I swear to God, if you like jazz and blues and reggae, you have to listen to Holly Cook. Just start on her Spotify and listen to the first couple of songs. You will be in love. She just came out with a new album, bro. She will inspire the hell out of you.
All right, I'm writing it down.
Holly Cook. She is absolutely amazing.
If I pray.
But you know what I want to do, man?
Yes, sir.
For the people that are listening to this podcast all the way through, I have to do this one more time. This is Down by the River, Hippie Fari, it's Cultivated Mind. Now listen to it legit this time, folks. Listen to the lyrics.
Pockets full, said the government is impractical. We hear the big of the rebels and radicals. Our guarantees all tongue and cheek. Bait and switch to defraud the meek. See them never in the Prince of Peace. So we have to raise our army in the east. Ooh, if I pray down by the river, I know one day Jah will deliver my soul. I promise to stay a believer even when the
Tony, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
So, I know you've probably said it a lot of times, but somebody new listening to the podcast and meeting you for the first time, where can we find you? Social media, website, events? What do you got going on?
December 5th, I'll be at Stuffed in Hampton Roads with Lapaka Roots. I'll be at the same spot December 21st for our Cultivated Christmas with 7-5 Syndicate. And then for all my dates, www.cultivatedmindmusic.com. Cultivated Mind Music on Instagram and Cultivated Mind on Facebook. I am on Spotify, iTunes, all that kind of stuff with the old albums, and the new stuff should be coming around Christmas, and not just one track, but hopefully a whole album and an old EP that I'm bringing back from Third Island will also be dropping at the same time. So a couple things coming around Christmas time to clear the way for Endurance and Blue Reggae coming in 2026.
Cool.
It's a beautiful thing, man. That's why we have it on the show. There's never a lack of any music or anything to talk about. It's absolutely incredible, man. Cultivated Mondays, Cultivated Mind, first Monday of every month. New episode monthly with my brother, freaking beyond friend, man, family, Mr. Tony Brand of Cultivated Mind, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round. So, folks, there is strength in unity. Build your community. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Hippie Fari, and shoot me an email, hippiefari reggae@gmail.com, and check out the website, hippiefari.podbean.com. Check out The Island Rhythm on Facebook, Instagram, theislandrhythm.com for the dopest reggae Rasta-inspired accessories and gear and coffee. We got a line of coffee too, guys.
It's actually changing it up. It's going to be even better. We keep working on it.
Yes, it's if you like coffee, especially like Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, you'll love this stuff, man. But this is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, Kira the Irie Empress, and the host that makes it matter the most, Mr. Shane Scott, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart, because all things start with the heart. So peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of that reggae revolution.
Peace be the journey, y'all.
One love, fam.
Thanks again, guys. Bless.
Always. Yeah. You can't go wrong with that, bro. I'm sorry, man. That song is badass. All right,
Thanks for
love you
spinning
guys.
it,
Peace
bro.
out.